Start streaming. That's good. Here we go. There we go. All right. Unmute. All right. It's let me know that I'm live. Let's see. I'm pretty comfortable with what lag we've got. Okay. Looking good. Whew. Now I can just coast on up till net time, maybe. What a day. What a day. Got about a 5-second lag. They fixed that button. Good deal. I'm glad. All right. Sorry about that if your ears are going. We've got, there we go. There we go. 205. What's the deal here? Oh, okay. That's because it's been 2 o'clock, 2:05 since I've been viewing it, probably. Let me see if I can get this thing back up. There we go. All right. Well, there's nothing to listen to but me for a few minutes. And I guess I could sing you a song or something, but it wouldn't. Might run people off. Let's see. Write down check-ins. N50RO. All right. I'm going to try not to do that too much. Put my head down where y'all can't see. I guess you can see past me that way. Hey, Jason. How's it going? Oh, okay. All right. Watch it when you get home. Thanks for checking in, and I'll put you down. Put you down. KI5QYD, Jason. KI5Q, Yankee Delta. All right. About 9 more minutes till TechNet, and live chat's up and videos up on YouTube. N50RO.
This is 5 CCL repeater PL 136.5 Hertz.
I'm going to try not to slurp. Trying to keep my voice box lubricated so I can talk. Wet my whistle. You know, I've got to make my chat. I've got to make the chat bigger, maybe, if I can here. I got a split screen because I've got to keep my streaming software open also. Now's a good time to do that if I can. Hey, that works. Oh, okay, K50LI. Now I see you. You don't go by Mike. You your name's Mike. Which would you rather be called, Mike or Michael? I think I'm I think I'm right. Once I get it habitized, that ought to be a word. If it's not, then all bets are off. But I got 3 monitors up, 6, 7 screens, and still need more. What's wrong with that picture? Eric. Hey, Eric. Good evening. Glad to see you. We'll see how this goes tonight. This is going to be interesting, at the very least. It's been a while since I've modeled, like a couple of, I don't know, 2 or 3 months probably since I've messed with this modeling.
50RO and 5SCR.
N50RO, N5SCR. Go ahead, Charles.
I've got the thing up, but it says I have to log in order to chat.
All right, and you don't have a Gmail account. Is that right? I wonder if I can open it up to guests. Let me look and see.
I don't think you can chat without it, KM5L. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you can.
You might not be able to. I know some things will let you do it and some won't. Let's see how to use.
you don't worry about it. You've got plenty to take care of, and the net's starting in about 5 minutes. I'll just watch the video and be on the radio.
Okay, that'll work. It's all interfaced together anyway by some kind of wizardry that goes on in the electronics world that I don't quite have a good handle on, but they can hear the net, and the net can hear me. So I guess we're working all the way around right now. I'll try not to slurp. Michael is good. Okay. Michael it is. Always messes me up. Yep. K5OLI equals Michael. That'll work. My boss, back when I had one, was his name was Michael, my engineer, and I worked under him. But anyway, his name was Michael.
This is Kilo 5 Oscar Lima India. Radio check over.
Sound good, Michael.
Thank you very much. I'm hitting you guys from about 16.5 miles away with a 5-watt Yaesu FT3.
Well, it's just the ever so slightest bit of fuzz, but other than that, it's a good signal, solid into the repeater, N5ORO. Two-minute warning. Let's see what we can get into or stay out of tonight. Get into the TechNet and stay out of trouble, I hope. That's always the goal. About a minute and a half. Repeater ought to ID here along about a minute from now. I had to reset my clock. I don't know. It was 20 seconds slow, but I don't know anymore. I hadn't watched it enough to tell. This is the worst part. Just waiting for the clock to chime or the repeater to ID in this case. Okay, I've got a minute. I'm gonna log in some folks. 5OLI N5SER
K5CCL repeater. The time is 8 p.m.
Good evening. This is N5ORO. My name's RC. I'm in Henderson County, and we're opening the monthly edition of TechNet on the K5CCL 146.900 repeater. And on YouTube live stream. The link, if you haven't found it, was in an email that was sent out a couple of different emails, Sunday and today, and it's on Groups.io, k5ccl.io. You can find it there under the TechNet hashtag. So, that said, the purposes of TechNet are learning more about the technical part of amateur radio and furthering the collaboration and camaraderie between Cedar Creek Lake Area hams. All amateurs licensed to operate on this frequency are invited to check in and participate.
K5CCL repeater.
This is a directed net, so please do not transmit unless directed by net control. If you have an emergency, simply transmit the pronouns break break or recheck and we'll recognize you. Do we have any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Okay, we'll take check-ins and come now with, I'll tell you who I've got. Net recognizes it already. KI5QYD, Jason. K5OLI, Michael. And N5SER, Charles. Any others that haven't been called out, if you haven't heard your call sign and you'd like to check in now slowly and phonetically, please.
November 5, Golf Delta Oscar.
Kilo Golf 5, Romeo Sierra Victor.
Kilo Alpha 9, Yankee November X-Ray.
Alpha Delta 5, Delta Romeo.
All right. Net recognizes AD5DR from the bottom up. AD5DR, KA9YNX, KG5RSV, needs a 5, and N5GDO, N5SCR, K5OLI, and KI5QYD. Any others wishing to check in at this time, come now with your call sign.
Kilo 5, Whiskey November.
Kilo India 5, Mike Echo Mike.
Kilo Mike 5 Lima.
Whiskey Delta 5, Juliet Charlie Victor. Whiskey Delta 5, Juliet Charlie Victor. Kilo Juliet 6, Sierra India Foxtrot.
All right, pretty good list going right now. This is, we got KI5QYD, K5OLI, N5SER, N5GDO, KG5RSV, KA9YNX, AD5DR, K5WWN, KI5MEM, KM5L, WD5, JCV, and KJ6SIF.
KI5MIR.
And KI5MIR, Don 2. All right. Not really a check-in question tonight, I don't guess. Not per se. Let's see. Do we have any announcements? The Rag Chewer regulars will meet 38 on 3.873 megahertz each morning, Monday through Saturday. Saturday's kind of light. I mean, as far as traffic goes, but around 8 o'clock, plus or minus 15 minutes or so. Usually minus 15 minutes. And the Cedar Creek Amateur Radio Club will have its November meeting this coming Saturday, November the 11th, 10 a.m. at St. Peter Lutheran Church. They're on Luther Lane, across the street from why did I say peanut butter? I started to. Pizza Hut. That's the place. Do we have any other announcements?
CCARC.
N5SCR. Go ahead, Charles.
Just let everybody know there are a few of us who meet on Thursdays for lunch because we don't really care to play trivia. But everybody's welcome to come. We always meet at 11:30. The location is posted on our website, and it changes week to week. This Thursday will be at the Roost Cafe in downtown Eustis. Come one, come all.
Any other announcements? Okay, hearing none, do we have anything to buy, sell, or trade tonight? Anybody got something to buy, or they're looking to buy, or something to sell, or something to trade?
KG5 RSV.
Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, some of the stuff that Larry is selling will be available real shortly. He does have a 2-meter horizontal beam that he wants to sell. Memory serves me right, it is a 16 element. It looks like I'm not sure, it may be a M² beam. I'm trying to check into that, but a really nice beam. I did get a look at it earlier today, and if anybody's interested, I'll get a price on it.
Roger that, and that's for a good cause. They had a tragedy there, and anyway, the money will be put to good use. I am absolutely sure of that. Anything else to buy, sell, or trade? All right. Sometimes trades work out pretty well for both folks. All right. Anybody got a topic for tonight? A question or information that'd be helpful to others? Anything along those lines? Okay, hearing nothing. Well, our first topic tonight seems like I'm missing something. I don't know why, but I tell you what we'll do. Let's do this real quick. This is N50RO. I'm on 146.900 K5CCL repeater, TechNet in progress. And do we have any late check-ins? We had a pretty good roundup for the first initial check-ins. So let's get on with the show. Topic number one. There's not a whole lot else to say about topic number one. I was going to cover a little bit about amateur TV, ham TV, and we talked it to death just about the last TechNet I did. And you can go back and watch those videos. They're on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. And it's one is raw footage, and the other is edited for not for content. It's just edited for time's sake. Cut off the beginning and the end and that kind of stuff. But modern day amateur TV is not slow scan anymore. There's analog that we talked about last time, but now they're venturing into digital TV, and with the restrictions on the data rates being lifted, I think that will even further promote that and foster that. But it is full 30 FPS, up to 4K HD live feed video and audio. It's used in a lot of situations for MCOM out in California where the wildfires are. It's my understanding that those guys they have about 4, I think, maybe more than that, 4 camera crews, ATV crews, and they'll go out and cover different aspects of things and set up back at the command post. So it's a big deal, and very, very time-worthy, time-sensitive data that comes in, and it's very highly in demand from what I understand.
K5CCL repeater.
Let that thing reset. And that's just about all of that. Got any questions or comments about that?
So I have to get a new Vera license for increased speed, KA9YNX.
I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that. I think if you do, they'll let you know, but I doubt it. All right. Topic 2. 3 things. I came up with 3 things that make up a good ham radio station. I mean, one like you hear a guy on the air and you think, man, I'd like to sound like that guy. I'd like to have a signal like he's got. And there's 3 things that go into it, 3 major components anyway. There's probably a lot of little things that can play into it, but your antenna, your audio, and your equipment. And the equipment does not have to be new and state-of-the-art to have a really good signal. But the audio is very important because, nobody knows that you're talking on a $5,000 or a $10,000 radio. You could be talking on a boat anchor that you got for $300 or less at a estate sale. And they can't tell unless you tell them what you're using, but they can tell your audio immediately and your signal immediately. So those 2 things are very important. And I thought tonight we'd look at thing number 1, the antenna system. And someone asked me suggested that I do a video or a TechNet on antenna modeling. I like to model antennas, especially this winter. I'll be getting back into it when it's cold outside, too cold outside to do anything, and it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Instead of going out with my headlight on and fooling with something, I sit and I'll model an antenna. And we're not going to go over any in-depth stuff tonight. This is just the basics. Get you up and running. There's a good link in Groups.io or in the description for tonight's video, as a matter of fact. I can't remember if I put it in Groups.io yet or not, but I will. I'll check, and I will if I didn't. It's a guy named Callum, DX Commander guy. If you've ever seen his videos, he's in UK, and he does good videos on Mamana GAL, Mamana-GAL, and that's the one I don't know. I started using it. I'm used to it. And I like it, so I've kept using it. There's also one called Easy NEC, and that one is kind of it's a good one too, but it's kind of a westernized version, and the other is more European, I guess. The Mamana GAL is more European. So the link to that is in the description, the video description. You can drop that down, tell it you want to see more and read more or whatever it asks you. and it'll be in there. It's MMANA-GAL. I don't know why they named it that. I think it's got something to do with the initials of the folks that are the architects of it. But the link's there in the YouTube video description. And basic is free. And pro, well, you got to pay for it. But I've never needed, to be honest, I've always used the free version. The pro version will do a lot more little bells and whistles, but little things. The basic one will give you a good idea, a reasonable idea of what you can expect when you put something in the air. And this is N50RO, and I am on K5CCL 146.900 repeater. TechNet now in progress. I'm trying to talk and keep up with live chat. And y'all are going to see a man have a meltdown because I can't walk and chew bubble gum. I keep saying that, and people don't take me up on it, but that's the truth. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to this is what it looks like when you open up the program. You can. I started to do a whole install and stuff, but I'd have to set up a virtual machine and a bunch of stuff. So this is what you see. It'll be coming up in just a second. There it is. This is what you see when you open up the program, and there is not much to look at. You notice that there's a toolbar up here, and it's got a spot for an icon for a new file. You can open an existing file, and I think we'll do that real quick, and then we'll make an antenna, a dipole from scratch. But you can open an existing file. You can save a file that you're working on, and save it. It'll save it as a .mm or MAA, I think. Let's look. Yeah, MAA. Mike Alpha Alpha. It'll save it as that extension. And I was I was looking. I think I've got my loop in here that I modeled, and I think this is it. The 160 low delta, and the low is just because it's not very high off the ground. It's just a low slung antenna. Anyway, that's what my delta loop looks like. Modeled. It's a 160 meter delta loop, and about 180 feet on a leg, and the supports are about 185 apart, so that the wire is isolated from the metal support posts. I don't have any trees. If I had trees, I wouldn't have metal support posts, but I've got aluminum trees, so makeshift trees. Good thing about that is you can put them right where you need them. Bad thing is you got to keep off of them just a little ways where they don't interfere with your radiation patterns, such as that. And let's see, we can go to geometry is a tab, the first tab, and it shows you all of the information on the antenna. You've got the y-axis, the z-axis, which is the elevation, the x-axis, which, you know, x and y are ground plane type thing, and z is elevation. So it's three-dimensional, and we can look at the antenna and the view of it and rotate it any way you'd like to. Let's get that back where we can look at something.
K5CCL repeater.
Yeah, Roger. This. Oh, okay. Patrick posted a link to a picture he took of my loop a while ago, so it's in live chat there. The link is. let's see, and you can see that it's not very, here on the z-axis, it's not very high. It's only about 15, 17 feet off the ground, about 15 feet out at the far ends, and it's got a slight slope to it, but other than that, it's horizontal. Now we can go to calculate, and we can put in a frequency. The SWR says is for 400 ohm line, and that's what I'm using, is 400 ohm. Let's look and see what it does at about I can't remember what I cut it at, to be honest with you. I think the low end of 160 meters. So let's try 1.825. You can also, when it's highlighted, that box, you can enter in whatever frequency you like 1.90, and that'll work. You've got a choice of free space, would be your dBi, perfect ground, which I don't guess there's any such thing as, or real ground. And real ground allows you to set up a few extra parameters. It kind of gives you the default dielectric and the conductivity of the soil. I used to work for a soils lab, kind of started off in my civil engineering type career. I wasn't a civil engineer. I was the guy that worked for the civil engineer. But we used to do the soils lab. We used to do a lot of conductivity studies for things like radio stations, cell sites, things like that, and also well, all kinds of soils tests, plasticity index, just everything soils related. And the difference between soil and dirt, the guy that owned the company got to be a real good friend of mine, and his name was Clayton Worley. And Clayton came by one day and he said, "Hey, Wetzel, you know the difference between soil and dirt?" And I said, "No." And I was running a test on some soil, an Atterberg limit, and he said, "Well, what you got in your test dish there is that's soil." And he took my leavings out there and he raked it off on the floor and he pointed at it and he said, "That's dirt." So that's the difference. It's just a matter of definition of terms. Oh, one other thing I was going to show you. Down here at the bottom, I hope you can see that. Down here at the bottom you have just the radial boundary, R, of the number of radial wires that you have. You can click on that box. It'll let you put in the number of radials and the radius of the wire, which is, that's awful skinny wire, 0.8 of a millimeter. But anyway, you can do that and make it just a wee bit more accurate. As a matter of fact, this thing it'll do a lot more than I can do with it, to be honest with you. My goal has always been to make it go and give me some rough idea of what I might be able to expect under a given situation, and it does a fair job of that at my skill level. But you'll notice that we've got 3 meters added height, and that puts the lowest part of the antenna 3 meters above the ground. That's about 9 feet, and honestly it's a little higher than that. Splitting hairs, but it's about 5 meters. Let's see. Yeah, it's about 5 meters off the ground. I'm using aluminum wire. Matter of fact, it's just electric fence wire. It's the same stuff you'd run to keep your cattle and horses in. "17-gauge electric fence wire. You can buy about a quarter-mile of it for something like $40, 35, $40. Once you get all that set up, anybody that has a throw your call sign in when I pause every once in a while if you have a question. All right, you can get all your setup done. 400 ohm. Let's look at that first. Anyway, because it's already there. I'll show you how to change it in just a second. You go down here to the lower left-hand corner, my other right, and hit start. Bang! It gives you the SWR. So you can see that you'll need a tuner with that, but that's at 400 ohm wire, feed line, not wire, and the actual ohms. It'll give you the ohms, the reactance, and it gives you the dBi, the front to back ratio in dB, roughly, the elevation angle that it's gonna, the takeoff angle. This is definitely an NVIS setup, right? And a horizontal polarization on that. You can also look at the plots down here at the bottom. You go down to the tab that says plots, and it'll show you it's almost a circular omnidirectional output. That's total. You can look at the vertical and horizontal. Didn't want to time out the machine. Or you can look at the vertical, and that's going to show your lobes off to each side. The horizontal, and like we said, the vertical and the horizontal in total all together. You can also see that your takeoff angle is very steep. There's your zenith, your z-axis up here. And the largest part of the lobe is in that direction. Funny thing though, and it could be something to do with the soil here, but I can work all over the U.S., continental U.S., and the Hawaii and Alaska. I've never worked Alaska on it, but Hawaii, and overseas in the Eastern European nations. I seem to do all right over there. France, Italy, Spain, and so propagation plays into that to a large degree. Okay, what was it I was going to show you next? I was going to show you the plots, and we're going to let's do this. Let's go up. Let's see. It's set up for a multi-band antenna at with the ladder line, even though it's cut for 160 meters. I use it a lot on, not 35750, 3.873, 3873 every morning. We use it. I use it there, and we'll see what it does. This is kind of the way it's kind of got a complex feed system because the 400 ohm ladder line, it comes off the antenna, but that goes to a 4-to-1 balun. And the 4-to-1 feeds into a 1-to-1 to block current, common mode. I'll get it out in a minute. Common mode current, and then on down with RG11U 75 ohm, the heavy 75 ohm coax, down to the shack.
K5CCL repeater.
This is N50RO on the K5CCL 146.900 repeater, and we are in the middle of TechNet, so you're welcome to join us if you'd like to do so. As a matter of fact, just come now with your call sign. Okay, hearing nothing. Now I'm going to show you something cool. You can see over here that the SWR is set up for 400 ohm ladder line. If you go to setup, I think I stumbled upon this one time. I've been using this for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe, and I've just never advanced because I can do kind of what I'm interested in doing. You can go to the standard Z, which is your feed point resistance that you're looking for, and you go to 50 ohms, and okay, and it will change. it'll automatically change your SWR reading, so you can see what it's going to do with 50 ohm coax. Let's go to setup again. You can see what it's going to do with 400 ohm coax, like we just saw, 81.7 and 43.3. And you can see where's setup. And okay, I'll get to your question here in just a second. Let's see what it does with 600. So this would be ladder line, real honest to goodness ladder line. And that brings it down to 50.5. But actually, that's deceiving though, because of the balance and all of that, and the antenna tuner. So you can tune it all out. I operate most days, unless it's rainy. I operate it at a flat SWR, 1.1 to 1, 1.0 to 1. I mean. Okay, what's the question?
Well, KM5LRC, this looks quite a bit easier than EasyNet. I do have a question though. If you say you were going to try to build a matching network there at the, feed point, can you tell it what components, L and C components, to put in there and then see the result of it? Kind of like you can do with EasyNet, but just seems like much more involved.
Yes, you can, and I'll show you how to do that. You go to geometry, and the geometry gives you all the wherewithal of the antenna dimensions. But down here at the bottom, it also gives you the sources, which would be your feed point. The source is your feed point, and you can have loads, use loads, or not use loads. And if you use loads, then you can, there's your inductance, resistance, and your front to back. Everything is right here. Your pulse. Pulse would be W2E, and that stands for wire 2 E. I can't think what E stood for, but it's wire 2, point E, I think is what it stands for.
I guess that's how you would tell it whether it's effectively an L or a T, for example, is the pulse, right?
Well, the pulse is the wire designation, basically. But the third column over, it's got pulse, type, and LRAO. So, and then you got the reactance, the resistance and inductance, and it gets pretty deep pretty quick if you want it to.
Okay, thanks, RC. KM5L.
Very welcome. That's the best answer I can give you. I'm sure there's a better one out there, though. Okay, let's go to, well, we said we were going to build one. Let's build one. Let me close this and reopen it, because that'll get rid of everything. No, I don't want to save those changes. And yes, I want to reopen the program. Let's open it back up. Clean slate. All right, let's say we want to build a dipole. Anybody, give me a band, somebody.
YNX, 465 megahertz. Yes, I know, this is really a stupid idea, but I've been actually researching it a little bit, and I'm trying to understand why not.
Oh, there's one in every crowd, folks. No, we can do that, Ed. I've just got to put my thinking cap on. Let's see. Okay, you'd start out with a blank slate, like we've got, and you would go up and you would go to the little eraser-looking thing right here. It's right in that group. And it'll open up a box, and the first thing you'll notice is that it's in 3D mode. It shows you the antenna that you're going to build as you build it. But what you need to do to edit that, you need to go to Wire. Here's the eraser again, the Wire Edit. You can edit it after you run the wires. But the New Wire tab, and you'll notice that you're in 1 meter steps. That's not 1 megahertz, it's 1 meter. And it'll display all. You got to go to a coordinates though. You want an XY tab would be across this point, like the closed end of a loop, and the XZ would be X, and of course the height Z, or Y and Z. So to model a dipole, you would need to, let's go to X and Z. All right, now, okay, let's see. I got to put my thinking cap on here, folks. I'm going to cheat because I can't. And I need my glasses, or I can't see the calculator. But you're going to have to be prepared to give me the frequency again, Ed, because I don't think in numbers that big. Let's see.
465 megahertz. I know you probably wanted something under 30 megahertz. Yeah, I get it, but been trying to figure out how I can get a long transmission line, maybe a balanced transmission line, to an antenna at those frequencies. And I've been trying to find, everyone says it's a terrible idea, but no one will tell me why.
K5CCL repeater.
Did you say 4365, right?
465 megahertz. 465 megahertz. Yes, it's out of the ham band. It's near the GMRS band.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, this program doesn't care what band it's in or what frequency it is. But you know what? There's 2 ways you go about this. And we're going to do it the hard way, apparently. First, right off the bat here.
I mean, if this is going to screw everybody up and not be worthwhile for everybody on TechNet, we can do this later. But, you know, if nobody cares, that's a problem I've got.
Okay, you can do short antennas. You know, they don't have to be HF. They can be VHF or UHF. But I was trying to think of the best way to attack that. It's going to be... okay, what I'm doing now is I'm opening the step deal where it will give us a broader scale. And 1 meter is all it's going to give us. Okay, you got to get the pro version for the other stuff, I guess. Two things. I just thought of something. Let's look and see what's already been invented before we recreate the wheel, and then I'll go on here in a minute and we'll build a 40-meter dipole. And make it a dipole and then change it to an inverted V. Okay, if you go back up to your open file thing, you can go up from loop to HF simple antennas, all the way back up to antennas, down to VHF antennas. Let's see if there's a UHF antenna. Of course not. Of course not. But we'll do it the hard way then. Okay. Let's see how many meters that would be, because this program, the main difference I think between this one and Easy NEC is Easy NEC will do it in feet and inches, and this is in meters because it's European, I suppose. So, with memory, nice wavelengths.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to screw everybody up. Maybe we should just move on to the 40.
I love a challenge. Okay, it'll be a foot long. Which is 1/3 of a meter. Let me point something else out while we're right here, real quick, because it's not gonna scale it down enough, Ed, to do that. Apparently, 1 meter. Each one of these little building blocks here is a meter, so it's not going to give us a scale. If I tried to draw a line, I could draw a line. I'll show you. I can draw a line from here to here, which would be about 1/2 meter. It looks like up here in the corner, but it's gonna go to the first meter block or not at all. So we can't get a resolution small and a scale small enough to do that.
Hey, it was worth a shot. At least I didn't pick something higher.
Roger that. Oh. All right, 40 meters. Let's see. We're going to get rid of that. You can what I just did was right click this. You can right click it, go down to, well, it'll give you that option. If you got a wire, delete wire, and it'll delete the wire. Delete the last wire that you are working on, the one that's highlighted in red. Okay, so a 40-meter antenna just off the top of my head. Let's see. Let's do one of the traffic nets. 7. Let's see. Come on. 4, 6, 8. That's the factor we need. divided by 7.285 gives us roughly 64.24 feet. And 64.24 feet my trusty all-unit converter, there's the camera, all-unit converter tells me that is 19.58 meters. So to go just a little longer, we want to go to what? 1 point, or 20 meters. 20 meters close enough for government work. Okay, now if you watch, pay no attention to the little man behind the curtain. Watch right here in this area, if you're looking at the YouTube video. This is where your X and your Z coordinates are going to be displayed as you go across the scale, see? So you line up right here at the 0 mark. You can also go all the way across first shot, I guess, and then divide it into 2 segments. But this is generally the way I'll do it. Go across, I want to go to, what did I say, 19.58, 19.7.5, that's close enough for me. 19, right here it'll show you the length. It'll also show you the Z1 and Z2, which is the height, the elevation on one end, and the elevation, this is 1, and this would be Z2. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to go out 15 minus 15. We're going to go out minus 19. Oh, come on, just a little bit more right there.
K5CCL repeater.
And what's wrong with this picture? That line is just a little out of line with the other line. It's a little elevated. So you come over here to the eraser looking gadget, and that lets you edit this line, this wire, and you just bring it straight down. Problem solved. Now let's give it some height. Let's see, 10 meters is 30 feet. Let's see, 10 meters, Z5, 7, 9, 10, whoa, Nelly. And it snaps the other line to the same spot. How cool is that? Now what you always want to do at this stage of the game is hit OK, because if you don't hit OK, you just lost your work. And when you hit OK, it takes you back to the main screen. You can see that we built our antenna on the x-axis, and the z-axis shows us that it's a inverted V. And the ends would be, well, the ends would be on the ground right now. But if you go to calculate, it'll let you add height. So the lowest point of the antenna is now 15 feet, 5 meters, 5, 10, 15 feet. I was right the first time, off the ground. Okay, and that's 40 meters, so let's see what 40 meters is going to give us. think I used 7285, didn't I? Yeah, 7.285. The material says no loss, but that's not the case in the real world. We'll use copper wire for this one. Oh, I know what I need to do. No wonder. It'll tell you right here that you, when you try to run it, antenna number 1 has no source. Well, you got to have a source because the source is your feed point. So you go back to view right here. It's going to tell me not to do what I'm fixing to do, but you're going to right click right there. Right click on where you want the feed point. And it'll say move or add source to. It always wants to put it in the center of the wire, but the center of the wire would be down here. If you wanted to feed a loop or an offset fed dipole, then you could do that, but not for a true dipole. So we'll say at the beginning of the wire, even though it's not recommended. And that gives you the little red circle. The little red circle is now your feed point. You can go to calculate, and everything now looks pretty good. It got rid of the error message. You can hit start, and we'll see what we get. And that's kind of ugly. I think I know why. Let's raise these up. We'll raise them equally, maybe. See if I can get it. Okay. All the parameters are the same. Let's see if that makes a difference. Well, looky there. Dropped it to 25, all the way down to 72 ohms, or 72 SWR units, standing wave ratio. That's high. Oh, I see why. Let's compare apples and apples. Okay, RC was afraid something like this would happen. I'm not going to save changes to that, but what we will do is we'll go back to this and we'll cheat. And I'll figure out why I couldn't get low SWR. Usually, it should come in at somewhere around below 2 to 1, 1.5, 1.8, 1.3, something like that. Okay, now we're going to open a dipole. We're going to look at it. And that is a cross dipole. We're going to keep all of the parameters. See, it didn't clear everything out because I didn't close the program and reopen it. So you can disregard 1, 2, and 3. Now you'll notice on number 4, the frequency in megahertz for this is 3.65, and we have an SWR of 1.23 to 1. And that's on free space. Let's look at perfect ground, just out of curiosity. There you go, 1.92 to 1, and the elevation is a real healthy 90 degrees straight up. So everything we've looked at tonight are really kind of in-vis antennas, but you can build the low angle. You can build verticals too, which would have a lower takeoff angle.
K5CCL repeater.
And this is N50RO on the 146.900 K5CCL repeater, TechNet, winding it down. Okay, and there's over real ground. So the front to back changes very little. The elevation stays at 90 degrees, and regardless of whether it's free, perfect, or real. Anyway, all I wanted to do tonight was give you an idea of what this thing can do under the right supervision. Apparently tonight, I don't have the golden touch, but I'll figure out what I was doing. Like I said, I hadn't done this in a couple of months because it's been hot and I've been working on other stuff. And the winter months, this is my go-to in the middle of the night when I wake up. Any questions or comments at this point?
RC, repeat where I downloaded it. I just started building something. Where do you assign the source, real quick?
Sure. Go to View. On the geometry view, calculate, and we didn't even look at far field plots. It'll do that too, and it'll show you some real good far field plots. But anyway, go to the view, and in the junction you want the feed point at, right click it, and the second option is move or add source to.
Got it, thank you. And one more thing, how do you adjust for, I noticed like copper, looks like CU, I guess that means copper wire, but how about a tower, is that available as a selection for a radiator?
Good question, and yes, I think you could do that. What you would need to do is go to the geometry tab. Well, you could. Let's look. It may have something like that. It's got aluminum pipe, but that's not quite a tower size.
That's right. I'll hit you with that later, RC. You and I can go offline on it. Good presentation, and we appreciate it. We need to do a follow-up and maybe have a lab. Cam5L. Good job.
Oh, this is fun. This is this is the kind of stuff I really enjoy doing. But anyway, I'm kind of a geek that way. Any other questions, comments, or anything before we wind up the net tonight?
Delta Romeo.
Go ahead, Greg.
I just had a thought about how to use this to attack Ed's problem. I'm going to send you and Ed an email, and y'all look at it and tell me if you think it would work. It's just going to be a matter of scaling, but I'll do that after the net. Great net, RC. Thanks. 85 DR.
Oh, you bet, Greg. Yeah, and I think that was the whole problem I was having. I just couldn't get the scale down low enough. 1 meter, it doesn't allow you much room on anything below about 144, or above 144, I should say. Okay, any other comments or questions or anything else? Well, I'd like to say 73 to everybody who was here tonight. And on behalf of, and we'll have to do a follow-up on this, definitely. We'll get into a little bit more specifics, maybe, rather than just a broad brush stroke of it. But on behalf of TechNet, I'd like to thank the Cedar Creek Amateur Radio Club for the use of their repeater. This concludes this edition of TechNet. I hope to see everybody on the first Monday night of the month, and every first Monday night of the month at 7 o'clock, weather permitting, of course, for another round of TechNet. This is N5ORO. I'll be returning the frequency back to normal amateur radio use. And 73, y'all have a good night. N5ORO. I'll be clear. All right.
Yeah, good one, RC. You may want to add something to Groups.io on TechNet and then put the link for the YouTube. I just think that's going to be a good one. Cam 5L.
Good suggestion. I'll do that here in just very shortly. In the meantime, if you do a YouTube video, they fixed their button. The end stream button on YouTube Live used to be, you had to hunt it, and it was real small. Now it's a big red button right next to right next to your icon. So that's a good deal, YouTube.
Maybe you and I can do a Zoom, and I'd like you to ride co-pilot with me over-the-shoulder support on building my networks here. I'd kind of like to see how they should look based on the different networks.
Yeah, roger that. That would be a great way to model it and get a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I noticed it has a way to do I forget what word they use, but like if you're trying to match it to 50 ohms, you can push a button and tell you what you need in the way of reactances. That's pretty good. That beats a Smith chart, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it beats Smith chart right down to the ground. It takes all the guesswork out and all the work smarter, not harder.
Roger that. All right, RC. Well, I think I didn't do something right on this first attempt. I got 252,344 for SWR. So I'll talk to you about it tomorrow.
Balanced feed line, and I just wonder how bad that would be at those frequencies. So that's what I was trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, sounds like Greg may have come up with a solution for us. We'll see.